Japan's ruling party has lost its majority in the upper house after the weekend elections. Half of the 248 upper house seats were up for grabs, and the coalition led by Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba ended up with 47. It needed 50 to retain control. But another headline in this election has been the surge in support of the far-right party Sanseito that's been campaigning on their Japan First and anti-immigration platform. Donna Weeks is Emeritus Professor at Musashino University Tokyo and has been watching the events closely, and she joins me now. Donna, good to have you back on the program. Now, firstly, I'm just curious, who are the Sanseito and how do you explain the rise in support for this party in this particular election?
Yes, thank you, Girish, and thank you for inviting me back on. Look, it's been an interesting phenomenon, I guess, to look at, to see Sanseito really emerge in the way that it has. It came about at around about 2020 during COVID times. It started off as a YouTube kind of channel with the leaders sort of talking conspiracy theories and so on. It succeeded in getting one seat, and we thought, well, this will be a fringe party. But what it's done in the last few years, and Kamiya, the leader, has in fact pointed to Donald Trump and seen what Donald Trump has done, what he's achieved, and quite in his, the leader has said that he's gone out to kind of imitate that. And I guess I've spent the day trying to understand this. I'm in Tokyo at the moment, and to me, it's kind of trying to, some parties like Sanseito are capturing this politics of grievance, I think, that seems to be kind of sweeping the world. So it's very similar in many ways to what we've seen in Australia, to what we've seen in European countries, in the United States as well. This anti-immigration, as you say, this concern about migrants taking people's jobs. I could almost be reading headlines that have been written in Australian politics in the last 6 months. So Sanseito has captured something of the concerns of the younger group of Japanese people. They think perhaps Ishiba is not as radical, if you like, as former Prime Minister Abe. They want Japan to continue moving in Abe's direction. Now, this will have some interesting implications down the road, but at the moment, Sanseito has really captured that younger cohort of people between, sort of in their 20s through to, say, the late 40s, early 50s. So they're really, well, hollowing out the LDP, the long-time ruling party.
Yes, and well, let's go to the LDP. Where did it go so wrong for the ruling coalition led by the Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba?
Where did it go wrong? I mean, it's such an interesting question because I think it's just the way that Sanseito has captured this particular group, and while a number of people continue to vote for the LDP, people within the LDP, politicians within the LDP, aren't happy with Ishiba as Prime Minister. So one of the first things I've started researching about Japanese politics was the factions. Now that goes back, for me, 40 years or so. And the factions really haven't changed. So there's still a very strong anti-Ishiba feel, if you like, in the party, which has sort of compromised his ability to really push through and do the things that he wanted to do as Prime Minister. So he's not only having to deal with these new extreme parties like Sanseito, but also discontent within his own party as he's trying to kind of work through and find a path through for Japan. So.
Yes, and I wonder whether it's got to do with the fact that, both the major opposition, but also the LDP, its coalition, their leaders, male of beyond a certain age. And then you've got, someone like the leader of Someito, Sohei Kamiya coming forward. Are younger people drawn to someone that looks different from the rest of, the establishment politicians in Japan?
Look, certainly I think there is that impression. So when I was teaching, when Sanseito first came out in 2020, I had some students, younger male students, who said, oh, I think I really like what this party is doing. And I said, why is that? Why do you like this party? And they said, well, the LDP is so old. And the students were talking about this term they'd learned, silver democracy. It really only appeals to their grandparents. And here's some dynamism that we see. I mean, it was interesting to see candidates who won the 7 positions up in the Tokyo electorate, just looking at their ages, most of them are in their 40s, which is, so there is that shift, that demographic shift in Japanese politics as well, I think. But the LDP, the two main opposition, the main opposition parties, they've got a lot of soul searching to do too, because somehow they haven't been able to capture this sort of grievance politics that seems to be going throughout society at the moment. And I think that's up to, the media, the parliamentarians. I mean, this is, again, a big gap between parties on social media versus parties through regular media. So that's going to be a talking point for a little while too.
Yes. And just briefly, Donna, what say you in terms of Shigeru Ishiba? He's defiant. He says he wants to stay in his job. Will he stay where he is? Will he survive?
Look, he made yet another plea this afternoon in a press conference to say, I have to continue doing this. We're in the middle of negotiations with Trump, all that sort of thing. We really have to push it on. But again, it's the power brokers within the party who'll have the final say, I think. So it could change again before tomorrow. Who knows?
Okay.
We might be back tomorrow.
Okay, Donna Weeks, really good to get your analysis there from Tokyo. Thank you so much.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you.